the early 1900s, America had no idea what was coming. A new criminal empire was forming in the shadows, one that would control cities, politicians, police departments, and billions of dollars. And at the center of it all, a young street thug from Sicily named Lucky Luciano, who would change the American underworld forever. This is the story of how the Mafia rose to power in America, and how it ultimately crumbled. The American Mafia didn't begin with guns or money. It began with immigrants. Between 1880 and 1920, over 4 million Italians arrived in the United States, most of them poor, desperate, and searching for a better life. But in the slums of New York, they found something very different: hunger, fear, exploitation. And in that chaos, smaller criminal groups emerged: Black Hand extortionists, neighborhood gangs, and Sicilian clans. But these early organizations were chaotic, unorganized, and constantly fighting each other, until one event changed everything. In 1920, the US government outlawed alcohol. To the Mafia, it was the greatest gift in history. Bootlegging became a multi-million-dollar business almost overnight. Criminals who could barely feed themselves were suddenly running fleets of trucks, bribing politicians, and controlling entire neighborhoods. Gangsters like Al Capone in Chicago, Joe Masseria, and Salvatore Maranzano in New York became powerful beyond imagination. But success brought greed, and greed brought war. From 1930 to 1931, New York erupted in a brutal mafia civil war. Two sides, Joe, the boss, Masseria, versus Salvatore Maranzano. Hundreds were killed, families split, loyalties shattered. And in the middle of this bloodbath stood a young gangster named Charles Lucky Luciano, watching, planning, waiting. Luciano realized the old way of doing things, blind loyalty to Sicily, was holding the Mafia back. He wanted something modern, organized, structured. So he made his move. Luciano betrayed his boss, Masseria. Masseria was murdered during a card game. Luciano's men pulled the trigger. Maranzano won the war. But not for long. A few months later, Luciano eliminated Maranzano as well. And with both bosses gone, he became the most powerful mobster in America. Lucky Luciano redesigned the American Mafia like a modern corporation. No more senseless wars, no more one-man rule, no more loyalty to the old Sicilian traditions. He created the Commission, a national governing body for the Mafia. Every important family got a seat. Disputes were settled with votes, not bullets. Under his leadership, the Mafia expanded into gambling, labor unions, prostitution, construction, nightclubs, Hollywood influence, and massive citywide corruption. For the first time, the Mafia seemed unstoppable. And the money? It was pouring in like never before. The underworld had become a business empire. But every empire has cracks. And for the American Mafia, that crack was law enforcement technology. By the 1950s, wiretaps, undercover agents, and federal investigations began tightening the noose. In 1957, a meeting of 100 top mob leaders in Appalachian, New York, was raided by police. It was the first time the US government publicly admitted the Mafia actually existed. From that moment on, the war against organized crime became national policy. In 1970, Congress passed the RICO Act, a law designed specifically to destroy organized crime. For the first time, prosecutors could charge entire Mafia families, lock up bosses for crimes committed by their soldiers, seize assets, businesses, and bank accounts. The Mafia's most powerful weapon, fear, was now useless because members began doing the unthinkable. They flipped. Undercover agents infiltrated families, Informants revealed secrets. Dons were arrested one by one. By the 1980s, the once mighty five families were falling apart. The final blow came in the mid-1980s during the Commission trial, when nearly all the top mafia bosses in New York were convicted at once. It was the end of the mafia's golden age. Today, the mafia still exists, but nothing like before. No more political control. No more billion-dollar bootlegging operations. No more ruling cities from the shadows. Just fragments of what was once the most powerful criminal empire in American history. The American Mafia rose from poverty, ruled through fear, and fell through betrayal and law enforcement. But its legacy remains. An empire built on blood, ambition, and the dream of power. If you want more stories from the hidden world of organized crime, make sure to subscribe. This is Underworld Mob, and we tell the stories others won't.